We're especially vulnerable to burnout when there's an over responsibility or a sense of perfectionism, right? So these are common patterns. This is really a high demand. So women in management and senior levels, women in particular, in a leadership kind of role, there's a demand for perfection that often leads to chronic stress and exhaustion, right? So, and those demands come from societal, racial, sometimes there are our own kind of issues that have led us there. Speaking for sure from my world, that sense of over responsibility can really lead to that. People pleasing. Again, another one of my go-tos, right? This difficulty of setting boundaries, I've since learned. But when you don't have good boundaries, that impacts your time and it can result in taking on too much responsibility. So it leads to that over responsibility. People pleasing, right, can lead to the over responsibility. Over responsibility can lead to that perfectionism. It becomes a vicious cycle. And women that are in leadership often face intense scrutiny, which leads to a difficulty asking for help. It leads to a hyper sense of independence, and it can really be tied to this sense of, am I capable? If somebody is constantly looking over your shoulder, waiting for that mistake, or you feel like they are at least, then that intense scrutiny can lead to an experience that leads to burnout, because it's exhausting to constantly have to defend yourself. It's exhausting to constantly be upended because you're people pleasing. It's exhausting to have this sense of perfectionism. So that can really lead to this sense of burnout. It makes us vulnerable to it. Very easily can go to burnout. These aren't flaws, all right? These are strategies that we've learned over time. And I talked about strategies in the last live that I did, adaptive strategies, right? So women, because of the generational traumas or the societal or familial, right, or even our own personal traumas, we learn behaviors to keep us safe. And we learn behaviors to keep us in a position where there's less scrutiny, right? And so if we're in any kind of management position, those behaviors really come to the surface. It can really come right here. Over responsibility, people pleasing, that hyper independence. So learning how to do those things to keep people at bay so that we feel safe can lead to that burnout for sure. Being strong equals being valuable. You're so helpful. That is so wonderful. Oh, you're so strong. This weekend, I heard that over and over and over again from my daughter-in-law's mother. You're so strong. I can't imagine going through everything that you've been through, right? No longer is for me a validation of value, right? It's just, I've been through a lot. So I was able to say, thank you. Right? But in the past, being strong equaled being valuable. Emotions are equal to weakness. Okay, so these are, again, adaptive strategies that we've learned. So we learned that emotions equal weakness. Right? Emotions are not weakness, but that's what we were told. Right? So these are things that we had to then shift, and we had to create strategies that allowed us to be strong, which meant being valuable. We had to keep going, even when our bodies demanded rest. We had to shove our emotions down because we didn't want to appear weak.